Forget the corsets. Forget polite society. Before 1870, if you were a woman, lady or laundress, your monthly secret wasn't just a secret. It was a constant, visceral reality. Blood, soaking into layers of chemise, then petticoat, that chilling dampness, the faint metallic scent following you like an invisible shroud, in a world pretending your body simply didn't do that. Every month. Imagine the shame, the suffocating terror of a stain. You think that's hyperbole? Just dramatic for clicks? No. Let's get real. Forget your sleek, individually wrapped tampon, or pads with wings. Hell, forget even modern toilet paper. We're talking a world where disposable menstrual care was science fiction. Before the late 1800s, and even then, slowly, no Kotex, no Tampax, no ads whispering discreet protection. What was there? Rags, old cloth, flannel, knitted wool. Whatever scrap a woman found, cut, sewed, and then, crucially, washed. Imagine wearing that, a bulky, ill-fitting makeshift pad, layered between legs under petticoats, shifting, bunching, a constant, clammy presence. Texture? Not soft cotton, more like scratchy flannel or repurposed linen, stiff from repeated washings, maybe not even clean from the last cycle because privacy and hot water were luxuries. The weight of it. It would absorb, then saturate. Heavy, cold. That specific, metallic, earthy tang of blood, clinging not just to clothes, but to you. A constant, low-level hum of dread, a primal fear of leakage. Then the washing. Think, not just rinsing a stained garment, but carefully, privately washing what was essentially a blood-soaked rag. No machine, obviously, by hand, often in cold water because hot was a luxury, a chore. Then drying it, quickly, discreetly, hanging it somewhere unseen by anyone. The sheer, relentless labor of it, every month, for decades. And the psychological weight, knowing that thing was with you, pressed against you, for days, 7 days, maybe 10. No quick changes in public, no discreet disposal, just the constant, heavy, often smelly evidence of your body doing exactly what it was designed to do, but what society forbade you to acknowledge, preferring to pretend you were some ethereal, bloodless angel. This wasn't just inconvenient. This was a daily, hourly negotiation with your own biology, a dirty secret physically manifested. And the why of it all? The deeply ingrained, utterly flawed medical and social understanding of the female body. Because, get this, for centuries, Western medicine, spearheaded mostly by men, genuinely believed women were, by nature, weaker, fainter, more delicate. They had theories, obviously, wild ones. The wandering womb was an ancient Greek concept, yeah, but its echoes? They resonated right into the Victorian era. The idea that the uterus could just, float around inside a woman's body, causing all sorts of distress. Or that menstruation itself was a sort of purging of excess humors, or even a sign of a woman's inherent frailty, requiring rest. Absolute, complete, forced rest. Don't lift a finger. Don't read anything too taxing. Definitely don't have any intellectual thoughts. God forbid you overexert yourself and, what, cause a uterine prolapse from reading a book? It sounds absurd now, doesn't it? Laughable. But this wasn't some fringe belief. This was mainstream medical advice. Doctors would prescribe things like corsets, which, ironically, could cause fainting and other issues, for nervousness or hysteria, often intertwined with menstrual cycles. They thought women needed to be kept calm, away from the stresses of the world during their period. Imagine being told your brain just wasn't fit for use for a quarter of your life. Not because you were sick, but because you were female. The sheer lack of biological understanding was staggering. Germ theory? Still relatively new, not universally accepted or understood, especially in household hygiene. So, that blood-soaked rag you were wearing? That you washed in cold water, maybe not even properly, and hung to dry? It was a breeding ground for bacteria, for infections. No, not toxic shock syndrome as we know it, but pelvic infections were rampant. Fevers, sepsis, pain that went beyond cramps, ignored, dismissed. It's just women's troubles, dear. Or worse. You're imagining it, you hysterical female. The sheer audacity of it. The way society just drew a curtain, not just on the act of menstruation, but on the experience, the physical reality, the actual physiological process. If you couldn't acknowledge it existed, you certainly couldn't acknowledge any problems arising from it. So, a woman silently suffering from a severe infection, perhaps from an improperly cleaned menstrual cloth, would often just be seen as ailing or frail. Her suffering medicalized as inherent weakness, not as a consequence of appalling hygiene standards and a profound lack of accessible sanitary options. And the smell. Let's talk about the smell. Forget subtle, forget fresh scent. This was a constant presence. Old blood, sweat, the faint, sweet decay of iron lingering on fabric, on skin. A woman, tightly laced into a corset, layers of petticoats, wearing a thick, damp cloth between her legs. The air circulation? Non-existent. The heat, especially in summer? Unbearable. That smell, she would know it intimately. She'd worry about everyone else knowing it. The paranoia, the constant self-checks, the slight tilt of the head trying to sniff discreetly. The fear of being found out, of being perceived as dirty. Because dirty wasn't just a physical state. It was a moral one for women. This wasn't just about personal discomfort. It seeped into every corner of life. A woman on her period was, by many superstitions that still held sway, considered impure, unclean, unfit for certain tasks. Don't touch bread, it won't rise. Don't make preserves, they'll spoil. Don't approach a sick person, you'll make them worse. This wasn't just a bodily function. It was a societal judgment, a mark of otherness, of potential contamination. So, when you think about the Victorian woman, don't just picture the lace and the rigid social codes. Picture the constant gnawing anxiety. The physical discomfort, yes, but also the mental weight of carrying this unspoken, unclean secret. The effort, the planning, the fear, the shame. This wasn't some minor inconvenience. It was a silent, relentless war waged against one's own body, in a society that demanded purity while offering no tools for it. It dictated choices. It limited freedom. It stole comfort. And for too many, it silently stole their health. We're so quick to scroll past things like this, right? To think, oh, it was so long ago. But understanding these hidden struggles, really getting under the skin of it, helps us understand how far we've come. It also helps us see what we still take for granted. If you found yourself nodding along, maybe a bit grossed out, but also thinking, I never considered that, then you're exactly where we want you to be. Hit that subscribe button, because we're going to keep digging into the truly messy, unromanticized bits of history. The stuff they didn't put in the textbooks, the real diaries. A sudden warmth, a gush. Your stomach clenches. Not just the physical agony of a cramp, but a terror that chills you instantly. Is it through? Oh God, is it through?
Impossible.
You're in the drawing room, or on a promenade, at a tea party perhaps, surrounded, eyes everywhere. A quick, furtive hand to your skirt. The thick, damp cloth between your legs, the one you've been wearing for hours, maybe days. It feels heavier, saturated. You breathe shallowly. The sweat prickles. A blush starts, not from embarrassment, but pure, primal panic. One wrong move, one awkward shift, and it's over. Your reputation, your carefully constructed facade of Victorian ladyhood, gone, stained, literally. The shame isn't just yours. It's ingrained, passed down, a silent threat. It keeps you rigid. It keeps you isolated. It dictates your every public movement. The walk becomes stiff, the laugh a little forced. Every moment a performance of normalcy, while inside, a silent war rages. A war against your own body. A war against a system that offered no relief, no dignity, no solutions. Just judgment, just silence, and a constant, gnawing fear. That dark, invisible stain. It wasn't just on fabric. It seeped into the soul. It colored every interaction, every breath. A prison built of blood and shame, hidden beneath layers of silk and lace. And you wore it. Every month. Every single agonizing month. What an existence. To be constantly on guard, to be constantly afraid of the most natural, most fundamental part of being a woman. So, is there still a secret? This whispered thing? Or just an echo? We've traded soiled rags for sterile pads, sure. But the discomfort? That quiet unease? It lingers. It does. Maybe it's time to stop just swapping brands and actually talk. Out loud. Shake off that musty Victorian shame. For us. For the next generation. Because silence? Man, silence just eats away at everything good, doesn't it? Don't let it. Think about it. And if you're still here, still nodding, still a little squirmy, then you get it. Hit that subscribe button. Let's keep digging.